But they again use these people, these radicals, put them in these positions through the CIA, and they actually infiltrate organizations and find people that would suit their needs to put out their agenda. So that's what's happening here. So again, look, we're like we're stepping like a feet away from war with Iran. This is just a perfect example. Now Ahmadinejad Jacket, who I like to call him Ahmadinejad Jacket. Ahmadinejad Jacket is a heinous person. He's just an evil in his own right, but he speaks some truth. When he calls America's imperialists and all of that, and and they walk out on him in the UN. But it's true. I mean, they provoke a lot of the misery and stuff there. Now, when he says that the Holocaust never happened, that's where he's like, I think he's lost his mind a little bit, or I don't know where he's getting that intelligence from, because it clearly did happen, and people like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, who were, again, these are the people we must focus on as the quote-unquote evildoers. They are the evildoers. George Bush evildoers. Okay, so now we know what's going on with that situation. They're just trying to find more false flag or more opportunities to have war with Iran. Getting a little delay there. So the Justice Department is accusing the Iranian government of trying to assassinate this person. That's nice. I love that. Of course, Hillary Clinton is now, there's evidence that shows that she was a mastermind behind Gunwalker, speaking of Eric Holder and Fast and Furious. Last week it was reported that the State Department and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were deeply involved in the scandal known as Operation Fast and Furious, or Project Gunwalker. Today, however, new evidence has surfaced indicating that it was not only Hillary who deeply involved in the scandal, but it was one of the masterminds behind it. Of course she was. Who else would be behind it? They're all connected. This is the club, people. This is the club. All right. According to the investigative journalist Mike Vanderberg, sources close to the development of the Gunwalker scheme state that early on, Hillary and her trusted associate at State, Andrew J. Shapiro, devised at least part of the framework of what would later become Operation Fast and Furious. What a shock! It was Shapiro who first described the details of the proposed scheme early in 2009, just after the Obama administration took office. That's very nice. Wow. Vanderberg relates the following. My sources say that it's Hillary's trusted subordinate. It was Shapiro who first described to the Secretary of State the details of what has become the Gunwalker scandal. The precise extent to which Hillary Clinton's knowledge of and responsibility for the Gunwalker plot lies within the memories of these two men, Shapiro and Steinberg, sources say. How interesting. Anyway, I can go on and on with this, but look that up. That is actually from an article by Anthony Martin in the Conservative Examiner, dated October 10th, 2011. Here's a disclaimer. There is no profit made here on this conversation here, or on anything that I report. So this is a fair use of the information I report to you, since the FBI happens to be probably trying to prosecute me for doing this very thing. So if I need to, and maybe I shall on air, just to make a really stupid, ridiculous point, is that I will read the fair use notice. I do actually have it. And maybe after the next break I'll start with it. So this isn't under fair use protection for the FBI and anyone else that might want to prosecute me or anyone else for basically shedding some truth and having some socio-political discussion that is ignored by the media that is supposed to be keeping the government in check. If you go back to the Constitution, and the idea of the freedom of press is the only one that's really protected under the First Amendment, when you think about it, it should be paramount. So, we know that the Federal Reserve is a cache of stolen assets. This is from Sartre. I got this one off Infowars.com on October 10th. The American Revolution in no small part was a repudiation of the central banking tyranny exported to the New World by the Bank of England. Of course, that's true, and they own it, as I said. Now, we must keep our eyes on the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Those are the people that you start opening these books. That's why they don't want an audit. That's why they're resistant. And they audit, and they find that there's 16 billion, I don't know, how much was it? It's a lot of money, trillion. I think it was actually, it sounds crazy, but I think it was $16 trillion that was sent to foreign banks and foreign governments and individuals from the central bank known as the Federal Reserve. Incredible. On another note, which is very interesting, we have, as I mentioned earlier, there's an attack upon the FDA and Big Pharma are again going after the vitamins, stating that vitamins are deadly. Now, if vitamins are deadly, why is it that in 27 years there have been no deaths from vitamins, but in 27 years 3 million people have died from prescription drugs? This is an interesting posting from Anthony Gucciardi at the Activist Post. Over the past 27 years, the complete time frame that the data has been available, there have been 0 deaths as a result of vitamins and over 3 million deaths related to prescription drug use. In fact, going back 54 years, there have only been 11 claims of vitamin-related death, all of which provide no substantial evidence to link vitamins to the cause of death. That's like linking the flu to the cause of death. I have stuff on that too. I'll get to that because it's the same thing. The flu, they reported on the news that it kills all these people. It doesn't kill 20,000 people a year. It doesn't even contribute. It's just it's stated in their own documents. It's totally overstated what they're saying, and I even heard also on the controlled mainstream media news that it said everyone should get a flu shot because several people have died a year, or a dozen people, which is really the right number of people that have died actually from the flu, actually being on record dying from the flu. But they're including if they die from other things, that the flu contributed to it, so they died of the flu as well. No. That's just misinformation, disinformation, which is what the mainstream media is fed. Okay? And they believe to be true. And remember, the brightest and the greatest are all from Harvard and Yale, and all the finest doctors and all the finest lawyers in the land and in the world are all recruited. Those that would go up in the order and go along with our plot. So that's exactly the truth. So you have these people that are manipulating the media's attention through Rita Zellweger and other other great media sources, obviously the television, but for the industries, the fact that they print all the journals and all the trade business journals they set policy for everything. It's just unbelievable. Look up that company. Founded in 2004, only a couple of short years after 9/11. Part of the consolidation. Now, again, I said earlier about Clinton giving up Glass-Steagall, and he did, so that they could sell all these derivative frauds. And we were able to then, of course, find that he also was responsible for allowing people who were really shouldn't have been buying these homes to buy these homes. And then, since he made it so easy, it made the banks even greedier, so they cut it and pasted everything, made it even worse. But they're all complicit in this, and go around the world as being the great leaders, because Clinton had a successful economy under his administration, and Meanwhile, he's a horrific criminal, just like all the rest of them. So I call you out too. It's just ridiculous. I mean, come on. They don't say it that Mena, Arkansas, when he was governor, all the cocaine that came through Mena, Arkansas. Come on. The CIA was running cocaine through Mena, Arkansas, and Barry Seal, that whole mishmash there, and yeah, and all those other innuendos from all the women that were complaining, and about him, and his own brother saying that he had a vacuum cleaner for a nose, and there was probably more cocaine in the State House when he was president than there was in Scarface's mansion. Okay, in 2009, just going to this whole thing, is that drugs exceeded the amount of traffic-related deaths, killing at least 37,485 people nationwide. Now, we're talking about prescription drugs legally prescribed for legal purposes. Okay? And findings go against claims of mainstream medical experts and mainstream media outlets who often push the idea that multivitamins are detrimental to your health and that prescription drugs are the only science-backed option to improving your health. And that's exactly true. This is the big pharma fraud. While essential nutrients like vitamin D are continually being shown to slash your risk of disease such as diabetes and cancer, prescription pharmaceuticals are continuously being linked to such conditions. Yeah, makes me sick. Can't even read any more about that. Now, estimating the seasonal influenza-associated deaths in the United States. This is a CDC study confirming the variability of the flu. This is from the CDC. You can get this on cdc.gov. Not a problem. Very easy to find. And if you look through it, it's basically saying what does it, as far as the flu, why does the CDC estimate deaths associated with the flu? The CDC feels it's important to convey the full burden of seasonal flu to the public. Seasonal flu is a serious disease that causes illness, hospitalizations, and deaths every year in the United States. CDC estimates the annual influenza-associated deaths in the United States are made using well-established scientific methods. Now remember what I was talking to you about Rita Zelvier and who they control and where they get their protocol in the books that they publish, such as Lancet and Cell and other very top medical journals that every doctor gets. The CD estimates the annual influenza-associated deaths in the United States are made, this is how they get their information and who they believe, using well-established scientific methods that have been reviewed by scientists outside of CDC. So they're making these statements about the safety of the flu shots and how dangerous it is. That you have to get a flu shot because it's dangerous. Yet they don't even do their own research. How's that? They take the word of somebody else. Why doesn't the CDC base its seasonal flu mortality estimates only on death certificates that specifically lists influenza? Well, seasonal flu may lead to death from other causes. So they use that in the base, but they don't include it. That's interesting. They say it kills, but it's really not. People really die. More people die from pneumonia, congestive heart failure, and all this other stuff. And they say that the flu contributed to that death. They're including that in their figures, so it's even more inflated. Does CDC think that influenza causes most deaths? No, only a small portion of deaths in either case of these two categories are estimated to be influenza related. CDC estimates that only 8.5% of all pneumonia and influenza deaths and only 2.1% of all respiratory and circulatory deaths were influenza related. Did you hear that? Get a flu shot. Come on, people, wake up. This information's right out there. So it says, does the CDC think that influenza causes most pneumonia and influenza deaths? It's saying no. It estimates that only 8.5% of all pneumonia and influenza deaths and only 2.1% of all respiratory and circulatory deaths are influenza related. Now there are related links on here that you can look on from if you go to the website cdc.gov, all the links are there, and it's just unbelievable. And but the CDC is saying this, the FDA is saying this. FDA is run by Monsanto's former vice president, Michael R. Taylor. Then you go to the actual statistics. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. I'm pushing it in front of the camera for the camera part. But if you were to know that the influenza deaths, the final data for the National Vital Statistics Report in 2003, the cause of deaths from influenza and pneumonia, okay? Influenza, all ages, 257 people, under 1 year, 7, 1 to 4 years, 6, 5 to 14 years, 12, 15 to 24 years, 7, 25 to 34 years, 10, 35 to 44, 6. So that's my category. So 6 people out of 300 million died. They had some bad flu. Right? I mean, more people died probably from bee stings.